Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. We're going to be talking about retreat stuff. Imagine that. Today, I'm joined with Paige Zen. She's a retreat producer, community architect, and founder of Waypoint Experiences. She has over 15 years of experience in creative and the creative force behind gatherings like Playthink Festival, Kentucky Yoga Festival, and the GodX Gathering. Paige now mentors healers and wellness leaders to design sustainable, soul-aligned retreats that support both their nervous systems and their livelihood, creating spaces where people can soften, be real, and remember who they are. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So, okay, we said Kentucky, so I guess that's your roots, right?
Yep, born and raised in Kentucky.
I love it. Oh, that's great. All I know is the Kentucky Derby. How close are you to that?
I'm actually only like an hour from there.
Have you ever been?
I have not.
I think that would be something. I'd go just to see all the hats.
You know, there's a derby party around every corner, so I've definitely been to a lot of derby parties and worn a lot of hats.
I bet. That's fun. Oh, well, it's all, I love horses too. So yeah, I'll have to add that to my bucket list there. Well, okay, so you've been doing retreats and events. You know, a lot of people, it's interesting how many people I've talked to over the years that have combined those, including myself. I started out doing more events, weddings actually, with my mom. Growing up, we used to do the wedding cakes and the decorating and flowers and loved it, you know, and then we graduated into all these things. And we were talking before the show that have done like festivals and things, and they're so fun and so needed. And I don't think people understand the work and effort that goes into those. Do you?
I definitely don't think that people understand.
And they're usually the ones that show up and complain. And I'm just thinking, volunteer and you'll see what at the back end.
It's true.
Gosh. Yeah. What are your favorite events, whether it's retreat or just an event? What's your favorite?
It's kind of hard to choose, right? If I was going to choose a small scale event, something that I created actually is called GodX Gathering. It's a super inclusive, divine feminine focused women's retreat. We cap it at 111 people, and it's just potent and wild and intimate, and where you can like really be with these women one-on-one and see people release the layers that they need to become themselves. If I was going to choose a larger event, probably like Burning Man.
Yeah.
You're just like complete opposite events.
You been?
I have 3 times.
Okay. I have not been. We used to have a motorhome that we used as a rental, and I always booked off that week because I was like, just by chance, I didn't want anyone taking it there. It's like, no, thank you. One time there was something in Vegas with glitter, and there ended up being glitter everywhere in our brand new motorhome. I was like, oh, I mean, months and months later, I would find the big specks of it. I was just like, oh.
I'm surprised it's still not there.
It's fun. I have a lot of friends that have gone. I don't know if I'll ever go. I don't know if I want to camp that long. I'm not that big of a camper, but I definitely have a motorhome if I went, for sure. When you said 111, like for a lot of people, like for a retreat, that's huge. Like you don't hear of retreats that.
It is.
So it's amazing that and I love the numbers, by the way. I'm a total numbers fan. I love that what you said described such a smaller group of people. So like, that's amazing that 111 people, you can get those kind of results. That's kudos to you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what was the moment you knew retreats were more than just events, that they were your life's work?
It's a really hard one for me to pick or to like pinpoint. I can recall being at a festival that I created in 2017. So it was like year 6 or 7. I was having a really hard time. I was in tears. The entire festival was falling apart around me. And I was like, there's 2,500 people there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This artist isn't here. This isn't happening. And I went behind a vendor tent and like just cried. And I took a moment and I prayed. And I took a deep breath and I was like, I love this. Everything is falling apart. This is miserable. And I still want to do this. And the following year, I started my first retreat. So I was like, I want to be able to work with these people more face to face. Because when you have an event of 2,500 people, you don't get a lot of face to face time. And even though I love it and it's great, I was like, I want more intimacy. I
Yeah.
want more time. And so I feel like it was that moment.
And that's when, to me, it becomes a calling. Yeah. I love that. That's great. What's the biggest mistake new retreat leaders make, in your opinion?
Two things immediately come to mind. One of them is not building trust appropriately. So, like hurrying up and putting all the details out there, and maybe not putting enough details or whatever the case may be. But then also putting what I feel like this is everyone's answer probably is like putting too much into your event. Make sure that there's not, it's just not crammed full of event after event after event. Give people time to breathe. Let there be some simplicity and some spaciousness and ability to just surrender to what is.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. How can someone design a retreat that supports their nervous system instead of draining it?
Similar to what I just said, make sure that it is simple and spacious and sustainable. So making sure that you're not putting more into it than you can get out of it for yourself in a wide variety of ways. Making sure that you're not making it overwhelming. So whether that means that you're getting help within the process or you're making sure that your plate isn't too full, just genuinely be like, what is my capacity? And don't go past that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think our nervous systems are so broken anymore that anything we can do to help those out a little and support those is needed so much right now.
Another answer there is I really think embodying what we want to bring to the retreat. Like how many retreat leaders, how many leaders are like, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to breathe, we're going to meditate, we're going to do a yoga class, we're going to do XYZ. And these aren't things that they're practicing at home. Maybe they've not done them in 6 months. And I'm like, oh, well, how are you going to bring this to other people if you're not embodying it, if you're not really focusing in on yourself and your own nervous system?
It's like running a marathon before you run a 5K.
Exactly.
Well, that's so true. What does sustainable retreat leadership really mean in today's market to you?
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Setting yourself up for success. It's like making sure that those logistics are in place and you're not giving more than you receive. It's making sure that the finances are going to be backed. It's making sure that you know the numbers. It's making sure that you have connections and actual like working networking situations with the people that you're working with, to where it's not just exchanging a dollar.
Yeah. It's so true. Well, I've watched a gal I know for quite some time now and not take accountability. Like there's things going wrong even on a Zoom. And it's like not acknowledge. I mean, it's like you don't have to be such a high power leader with your ego in the way that you don't come down and admit and be accountable to something that's happening. I just have watched in several different circumstances, and I'm like, to me, it always shows me who I don't want to be, because I really respect this person and they're such a great leader and they have such a great network that it amazes me that it's like, where's that vulnerability? That's like, and that accountability to something. And there's almost like, I feel like there's a lie in there somewhere by not being vulnerable and accountable. It's like, it's a cover up. To me, it's just be real. If you're a leader, just be real. Admit when there's something you need to admit, and
I
made me
think
think
that's
of
where the
that.
authenticity part comes from,
Yeah.
is like really being able to be human to human.
Hmm. Yeah. And just because you're in a leadership role doesn't mean you can't or shouldn't be vulnerable or authentic, right? I mean, just
1000%.
people appreciate that so much more than people realize. Anyway, when you said that, it brought me right to that scenario because it's been on my mind lately. Again, it teaches me who I don't want to be and who I don't want to model in that aspect, because there's so many good things about that person that I do want to model. But
So many
yeah,
people that come to retreats are leaders within their own realms. And so they're coming to be
yeah,
with other leaders. And you're
right.
like, you're you're kind of showcasing who you want to be and who you want to be around. And I don't want to be around people that can't take ownership or responsibility for what
Right.
they do in their lives or the mistakes that they make. And I want to be able to be vulnerable about who I am and be accepted as that as well.
Well, and I think that as a retreat leader, you need to attend retreats to see how other things are happening. And maybe retreat leaders maybe need to attend a retreat with other retreat leaders, which they are out there. So it's always figuring out how we can do things better. To me, my motto is always better is better.
And
What
when you
shifts
learn better, you do better.
Yep, that's right. That's in my book. I can't remember who I quoted that came up with that, but yeah, when you know, or when you learn and when you know better, you do better. What shifts when a leader moves from overgiving to aligned facilitation?
There's so much to be said about alignment. And I think the moment that we let go of everything that isn't ours or that we can't hold or that doesn't feel right within our hearts or our soul, things become easier. The people are magnetized towards you and your gifts and the things that you're bringing to a retreat. They see themselves, right, in whatever you're doing because you're like really showcasing who you are. I'm like, oh, well, I stand as this person. These are my values. This is what I enjoy. This is what I embody. And the people that are called to that will show up. If you are consistently showing up in things that you are not in alignment with, the wrong people are going to be called in, then they're going to be disappointed. Not to mention, when you're working with an alignment, things feel easy and joyous and pleasurable. And if you're consistently butting up against things that aren't in alignment with who you are or your values, it's going to be like butting heads consistently.
Yeah, I so agree. The word shift comes up a lot right now, especially, it's like when you get a car and then you see that car everywhere. You think, I never saw it before. Now that I have one, it's in my awareness and I see them everywhere. When I just launched a book, 1111, called Near Death Shift. And the shift is surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. But that surrender piece, I think nobody does it alone. Anyone with any kind of success does not have their ego in the way enough to say, I did it all alone and nobody helped me. Like, everyone needs support. Everyone needs help. And so I love that in that word shift. For me, those acronyms are surrender and transformation, but it feels like those are the great bookends because you can't have one without the other. And retreats are so much about transformation for the most part. Somebody usually goes, even if it's a girls' trip retreat, you're still the transformation is getting out there and being free and having that mutual respect with other women and being able to be vulnerable. And that all creates transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was great. So how do you know when a retreat concept is fully aligned versus just trendy? There's a lot of that out there.
I don't know that I know what is trendy, so maybe that's part of it. And for me, it's if it sparks for me, if it feels like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's exciting, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Whether it's trendy or not, if it sparks for me, sweet. If it's not feeling heart led for me, I'm usually out. And at that point, for me, if I'm really into something, if it feels good, if it feels juicy, as I said before, it comes with ease.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm working, it's still putting in the bits and pieces and putting in the hours, but it just doesn't feel like such a challenge. And the people sign up. Like, everything just like connects.
Yeah. Yeah. If your messaging is right, just make sure you're delivering what the message is and make sure that outcome is there. I think a lot of retreats, especially transformational retreats, shift while you're within it. Sometimes you need to be flexible on the schedule a little bit because something changes, something shifts, somebody has a breakdown to get a breakthrough. And it's okay that you're not so scheduled. Live in that free time and spacious element that people can integrate whatever transformation you're working on to get them to do. I think we forget about that. We stick with
this last December, we had a retreat on the Big Island in Hawaii and was not on the schedule whatsoever. We came across this place that was cow cuddling, and we had 12 participants, and 8 of them were like, we have to go cow cuddling. And I was like,
I've never heard of that. That's hilarious.
Let's go
I've heard of
cows.
cow tipping now is popular when I was in school.
And it was,
Wow.
I think multiple women sat and cried and was just like, this is the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. And they just had a cow sprawled out on their laps.
Wow.
And so I agree, having that spaciousness and just allowing people to really like see something they want and go for it.
Yeah, you never know what's going to spark emotion,
It's true.
and especially in Hawaii, everything's so beautiful that the energy's so good there. So that's amazing. Is that like a thing that somebody told you guys about, or did they advertise it, or?
We drove by a road stand and it was a Krishna cow sanctuary where they had cow cuddling. We literally just drove by it one day and everybody was like, let's go. And I said, okay.
I'm trying to visualize it. Are these baby cows?
No, they are full grown big cows, but they are docile and sweet. And they just, you get to pet them and love on them. And you sit down and they'll lay their heads in your lap.
Oh my,
And it was just like sweet cuddles.
I have never heard of that. That you learn something every day. That would be a great experience for someone to do for a retreat. If you're listening, retreat leaders, you're going to Hawaii. Where were you in Hawaii?
It was on the Big Island, kind of near Kona.
Okay. How fun. I think that would be a great experience to create as part. Would you do that one again?
1,000.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I have never heard of that. That's great. What role does play have in transformation? Because that's right up the cow alley, I think.
For me, play is everything. Having joy, having pleasure in your life is something that most people have forgotten. My first event that I ever did, that is still going on, we're on year 15 this year, is called Play Think. It's a movement, music, and arts festival. The basis is play. It's learning how to heal your inner child through learning how to play. How many adults, they don't ever dance, they don't blow bubbles, they don't really do much of anything unless they're doing it with their own children. And when we really learn how to harness that joy, it just like it brings a vibrancy to life. And I feel like when you get in touch with that part of yourself, you get to heal your small child self, you get to heal your teenager self, you get to heal
Yeah.
so much, and it just brings more joy all of the time.
Yeah. I know. It's so true. And I think that's a big part of transformation at retreats for me, is just incorporating that play in there and figuring out. Even with a corporate retreat, I think probably more for them. They're just so structured all the time and they don't get to see that side of people. So I think it's so important for sure.
When we think of children as even as babies, the way that they're figuring out the way the world works, the way that they're figuring out how to walk or to talk, it's all through playing. They're playing with their syllables, with their mouth, they're playing with their limbs to learn how to play, learn how to walk and to structure themselves within the world around them. And when we lose all of that, we don't learn as well.
Yeah.
Is it Einstein's quote that's like you learn more in an hour of play than in, I don't know the rest of it, but we learn so much about ourselves and other people in an hour of play.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, we're going to do a rapid fire round. You ready? Just
Okay.
first answer that comes to your mind without really giving it much thought. So, nature or luxury venue?
Nature.
Small intimate group or large festival energy?
Small intimate group.
Sunrise sessions or late night circles?
Both.
Biggest red flag in a retreat leader?
Inability to take accountability for mistakes that they've made.
One non-negotiable for every retreat?
I don't know if there is one. Being able to trust the leader.
Favorite group grounding ritual?
Energy hands. Like really working with one another's energy together.
Love it. Word that defines your leadership style?
Authentic. Adventurous.
Retreat. Okay, fill in the blank. Retreats are really about
the people.
If every leader understood one thing, it would be
trust is the most important thing.
And in one sentence, why retreats matter right now?
We need real human to human interaction.
Yeah. COVID taught us anything, it taught us that for sure. I love that. Well, okay. So tell us, I know you have something coming up in May. What could you share with listeners about that?
Yeah, in May, I have the Kentucky Yoga Festival. This is year 8. We have about 1,000 people, and it is a beautiful venue called Barren River Magic on Little Barren River, about 30 miles from Mammoth Cave. I think most people have heard of Mammoth Cave. And we focus on all aspects of yoga. We have laughter yoga, we have meditation, ecstatic dance. We have a booty glow yoga party on Saturday night. And we're really just celebrating everything about people and self-healing and yoga.
I love that. Well, everyone, we'll put that information in the show notes along with Paige's information if you want to reach out to her. And I appreciate you coming and sharing all your words of wisdom with us today. That was great.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.